When my cousin got killed on the front lines, explore those depths of anxiety, of desperation, of fear. I played trumpet for the first couple of months.
Not at all, right?
Yeah, not.
Air alarm creativity. Like, what do? You had this air alarm. In those moments, maybe you can be totally free because you had a limited future time.
Welcome to Ukraine Bank.
Hi, this is Joe Lindsley talking to you from the great Ukrainian city of Dnipro at a very cool cafe, Meow. This is our Speak Freely Near Daily War Journal from UkrainianFreedomNews.com, and here talking with a great friend of mine who I know from Lviv, but this is your hometown?
Yeah, exactly. My name is Yakiv Tsvietinskyi. I'm a jazz trumpet player, composer, and educator based in Lviv, but currently working here in Dnipro.
You're teaching here, and then you also, for example, last night you had a concert at the Philharmonic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I'm sorry we didn't make it. We were getting into the city, but then you said the concert was cut short because of an air alarm, right?
Yeah. Actually, it was cut right before the last tune of the concert, but people waited in the bomb shelter, and after the air raid alarm. We finished our last song, and some people actually returned back. They waited for, I don't know, like an hour. And and they wanted to hear that last song, and it was wonderful.
What was it? This is the music of Duke Ellington, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yakiv studied in the United States, in Michigan, in it was in Kalamazoo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. On a Fulbright scholarship.
Yes.
And then you spent, it's hard to keep track of time now, but last year you were in Basel, Switzerland for a year, or for 9 months or so, right?
Yeah.
Like an elite jazz fellowship program. And so you had all this before the war, you're traveling the world. You had great musicians from around the world coming to Ukraine. We were just reminiscing about Jazz Fest last summer in Lviv, where Kamasi Washington and other great legends were hanging out, playing with you guys until 7 or 8 in the morning. And now all that's gone. How's that been for you?
I mean, it is a complicated period when so many things that I personally cared about lost the value. I mean, I really cared before about touring and going abroad and having this international experience. And now I feel that I have to contribute and pay back to my homeland and actually to do more work here, helping the musicians, helping the army, helping the volunteers, and doing something meaningful within Ukraine. Because I think like art is some sort of, as we talked about that, I think the last time, art is the reflection of the reality. And I think that lately the art was not really honest and sincere enough. And I think now we have to return those values to the music community.
Do you mean the art in general in Ukraine and the world, or also, because I know you can be very self-critical too, but also your art as well? Did you find a new honesty?
Including my own music. I feel that I cared about myself. I mean, it's like an ego thing, and I think that so many things in modern and in pop culture and in jazz culture, so many musicians do not really care about what they are writing about. It's like some messages I'd say look like they're fake. Usually it's like something happens, I know pandemic started and people started, it's like about that hype and popularity and likes, and even now with the war in Ukraine, I see that many of Ukrainian musicians are just trying to get this internet attention rather than create something meaningful. Sometimes it's a nice thing to do because they accept donations or they help the organizations, and so that internet popularity will help to, we'll have the war efforts. So I think that's good reason to do whatever you do. But so many songs are just, I don't know, it's just, I'd say some cheesy attempts to say something about the events happening now. And some of my friends who are musicians, but they fight on the front lines now, writing songs, those songs are very different. And I'd say that those songs will not be popular, but if you hear it, you will probably drop a tear or two.
These are the songs about, not like the rah, 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 St. Javelin, Brother Chow even, but these are the ones about about missing home and not knowing if you're going to be alive tomorrow or the next hour.
Exactly. So that's...
Have you seen these lyrics? Have you heard some of these songs? Or?
Yeah. I mean, there are songs like that. Actually, one of my friends wrote a song right at the beginning of war. Right away he joined the National Guard regiment, and and he wrote a meaningful song about his life debts, about things that he cares about and about the things that he didn't do in his life and he wants to do if he will have a chance. So it's about valuing your life experience and people around you.
Did he? Has the song been released or?
It is on the internet, but it's not. I mean, there is no way it will be really popular because it's not.
I would love to hear it. If you could
I will share it.
Because I think when I was maybe one of the first times I was traveling through Donbass, and our driver, there was shelling coming in our direction, and we were playing a Ukrainian radio, and like there was one of the songs I heard was the Ukrainian update of the Bella Ciao song, which was a real song of the Italian partisans, and that music did give us energy as we're racing through. The girls, our translator, were trying to cover her and racing through the fields of Donbass and also Zaporizhia. There was some of the music has some energy. But I see exactly like this. The best music probably that will come out of this will be the real honest, dark, scared.
Yeah, I mean, music has its purpose, it has some goals, and it has some functions. I mean, there should be music like this. I'm not sure if anyone will go through a shelling on a bus listening to Ukrainian modern jazz, probably, because it's more of a niche art form. Mm-hmm. So we have to take advantage of that, because we like abstract music can actually reflect some of the deeper feelings and emotions, because it's not right on the surface, and especially instrumental music, like no lyrics, so you have to create your own images as a listener. So I think it does not work in the same way as pop music and or rock music. So I think, what exists now has a reason. I don't judge that. I don't question those decisions of people, but probably I think about my music that it has to have more meaning than it had before.
And you were the one that told me from 2014, from the Revolution of Dignity, we have this outpouring of Ukrainian culture and identity and creativity. You said, your quote was, which I've quoted 1,000 times since then, you knew you had a limited future time. You knew that one day something like this could happen. And so Ukrainians were, during those 8 years, creating, whether it was cool restaurants like this, say, but also art and music. And now that limited future time is, the limit seems even closer, right? And even I was talking with a friend of ours who owns a great jazz club in Odessa, and we were just talking over some gin about during the air alarm. And when an air alarm sounds, like the immediacy of the war, if you're in a city, it really is there in front of you. And this air alarm creativity, like what do? You had this air alarm. In those moments, maybe you can be totally free because you don't know, how much time you got left, and it depends on what city you're in, of course. But maybe to have this idea, like during the air alarm, I'm just gonna create something. I'm gonna write what I never wrote, like sing whatever I never sang, and use that because you don't know. And it's really a limited future time. How? Obviously, when the war first started, there wasn't time for. You were driving across the border, picking up soldiers and foreign volunteers, and But how now do you find time to create music and what's?
I mean, weirdly enough, I had to. I didn't do much of volunteering lately. I mean, I'm helping whether
You did a lot of that
whenever-
at the very beginning when it was like there was.
Yeah. I mean, now some concerts started happening, and mostly I'm playing charity concerts. And there was this moment, actually, I couldn't play trumpet for the first couple of months.
Not at all, right?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, I was still. They asked me to play. I played the gigs. I didn't feel that it was necessary. It lost its meaning.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was one hurtful event in my life that actually forced me to do something. When my cousin got killed on the front lines, he was killed in action on May 9th. And I remember I received a call from his brother, my other cousin, and he told that he died because he wanted wanted you to play music. Because I didn't join the army and I felt so guilty about that. And then I realized that I have to be a best version of musician possible so I can reflect on these events. So after that, I started playing music again. I started practicing. I started writing music. I recently finished a large piece for a quartet that will be premiered at that festival of new trumpet music in the United States.
Festivals in the U.S., but you'll be participating.
Yeah, it is a pre-recorded event. They couldn't bring Ukrainian musicians to the United States, but still, they have this. They have a night dedicated to Ukrainian trumpet players. So, yeah, I use this opportunity to start doing something, and now I'm more motivated than ever. I understood that that's my trumpet is my weapon, and I have to use it properly. I have to use it to the most extent I possibly can. So,
what is the name of that festival?
it is New Trumpet Music Festival, and it happens in New York. On September 7th.
And have you been able to compose music since the war
Yes.
started?
So I composed a piece for this festival. It was the first piece I wrote since the start of the war. And actually, you were talking about the air alarm, and weirdly enough, when I was composing, and that pitch of that air alarm just joins the music at some point, creates so much tension.
Really, I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, so I actually.
This is the Lviv air alarm, which is the most melodic.
Yeah, and the thing that I did, I used, as soon as I received this air alarm notification, and it happens, I don't know how many, 10 seconds before it starts, I just rushed to the balcony with my microphone and recorded the Lviv air alarm in the downtown. It was sort of, I don't know, it was sort of funny, I'd say.
And you incorporated that.
Yeah, and that recording is incorporated in the piece.
Wow,
so I think, it has its place in the music. It's just it became a part of, it's such a part of this life experience now. Waking up in the middle of the night to the air alarm. It's sort of a natural thing now.
I remember hearing a little kid in a shelter whistling the air alarm.
Yeah.
It's just part of the. And maybe after,
Oh my God.
like later, another conversation, we can have some of your recording and talk about it. Talk about what it means. I think it'd be great.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Now we also talked about one of the big challenges, especially in Lviv. We had this amazing jazz club run by our friend Yura Sadovi, and they kept it going through the pandemic. Especially every Wednesday there was a jam session, not stopping.
Oh, yeah.
The great times of the Jazz Fest, and that club. I mean, that's how I got to know you and all the great jazz musicians of Lviv. It was a living room. It was a clubhouse, and it brought all these great musicians together, and people developed through it. We even last summer you had people that wanted to be part of this, like Adele's piano player was there. And it drew people in. It closed during the war.
Yeah.
And you said it's had really bad effects for the musicians, the jazz cats of Lviv. You're not united the way you used to be.
Yeah. I think the problem is each person has its own feelings about that. Some people are extremely motivated because of the war. They want to do something, they want to change something, they want to help people. Some people, they just lose all the energy, and it's sort of apathy, you know, like they cannot do anything. They lost their creativity, they don't want to play music, they don't want to travel. And some people are just straight scared and just want to run away somewhere safe. They're concerned about their families, about their kids, about their own lives. So that's the problem with the community, that since each one has, like, they have their own thoughts and feelings, this sense of community was sort of lost. We still have this sort of core, I'd say core community, like some of the most motivated musicians that still gather together. And I mean, we have pretty much each evening at my apartment, a group of musicians comes together, we listen to music.
In Lviv?
Yeah, in Lviv, we drink a little bit and we think about how to make, how to change it, how to do something better now, how to, and how to interact with the other musicians. On the other hand, I think all the musicians are now closer together as ever, because since we all experience the same problem, there is no distance between people anymore. More empathy, more, everyone is just, people are more honest, and
you don't realize it might be the last chance to have such a conversation.
Exactly. And so I have high hopes for the music towards, I don't know, I think now is the period when the situation on the front line changes, and I think that the same should happen with the music, because it's like those events, all those news, they shape the community differently, and I hope that we'll unite even better than it was before. We'll make something better than it was before. I mean, I'm optimistic about that. But at the same time, some great music will come out of this.
Well, the music we all hear shapes our experience of the war. It shapes our mentality, how we approach it. And I realized that I haven't heard jazz music very little since the war started. A few times I was able to make it before the club closed, and maybe if you can send me some recommendations on good jazz I should listen to, I want to see how that would, because it helped me get through the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
And now I don't have that. So, I should also mention that Yakiv's wife is a soprano with the Lviv National Opera, and they're continuing. And you see I think maybe one of the greatest acts of Ukrainian resistance is continuing to live Ukrainian culture. And which means also culture in general, something that Russians don't, they don't seem to have. And it's and I remember we had a concert with musicians from Ohio in Nikopol, on the banks of the Dnipro River, and the Russians could see us. And everyone was dancing and singing and showing some vision of joy to those people across the river.
I mean, that's what they don't have, definitely. Ukrainians are, how do you call that? That perseverance, and that's what we have. And also, I was questioning the reasons to play music, since first charity concerts I played were online, so we had no audience. And so that's why it felt weird, because we were playing at the bomb shelter and stuff. But as soon as we started playing some live concerts, I could witness that people need that. They really need that. They need to live through their emotions. You need to give them that background, that music that will help them to get in touch with their feelings and just explore those depths of anxiety, of desperation, of fear, and to release those emotions and just feel better and feel more motivated to do something. So many volunteers are coming to the concerts. Here in Dnipro, we played concerts for refugees, for refugee kids, for the locals, and people are more excited there than ever. You can feel that for them, this is something. Now it has more meaning than it had before.
The music does.
Ever
exactly. In your life.
Yeah.
And Yakiv, thank you for taking the time to talk.
No problem.
Yakiv, not only world-class trumpet player, but also, you were one of the most in-demand drivers for foreign volunteers coming to help, because you gave people such a introduction to Ukraine as they cross the border, and helping the effort in so many other ways. Yakiv, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Дуже дякую.
My pleasure.
In your hometown, the amazing city of Dnipro, which I also love now. It's a great place. So, Joe Lindsley, UkrainianFreedomNews.com. Thank you.